this weekend sucked. But when you win a fantasy game by over 100 points, it sure does help. What's up, guys? I'm Lil'Shane, aka Dak Knight, and this is my fantasy football recap video. That's right, it's me again, Lil'Shane, aka Dak Knight, here to talk about Week 5 and what happened. Seriously, guys, this week really did suck. I mean, Longhorns lost, Aggies lost. I was there, seeing them lose against Alabama. That stadium's amazing, by the way, if you ever get a chance to go to Kyle Field. My Austin FC team lost, and even this happened to me. Yeah, that's in my home charity league. So, anyway, which is why I'm going to focus on the one bright spot of sports in this weekend for me, and that was my complete and total destruction of Make Canada Great Again. So we're going to talk about that definitely in this video. I also have some what-if stats at the end, so stay tuned to the end on this particular video. I calculated some cool stuff that you might enjoy just for fun, kind of spinning off the what-if series from the Marvel animation. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this game. Dak Knight versus Make Canada Great Again. All right, Matt, you might want to turn away or just fast forward for a couple minutes because this is going to get ugly. All right, here we go. First of all, we all saw what happened on Thursday night. I got on to a very hot start with DJ Moore. I was actually talking to you guys while that was happening. He had a career game. Hopefully that's signs of things to come. He just kept storing touchdowns, man. It's awesome. But I wouldn't have even needed him, technically. It was fun, but I didn't really need his help this week. I could have beaten Matt with two players. Check it out. Chase and DJ Moore. With just their points, I would have beaten Matt by like 9 still. Because Jamar Chase did his thing as well. Now, Matt did put up the lowest overall score we've seen since week 1 for any team, honestly. And I put up the third highest point total of the entire season. So it was just a boom and bust week for both of our teams. Matt had only 3 players in double digits, and his best score in Sam Howell was sitting on his bench, even though we know it wouldn't have made a difference even if he would have started him. Okay, well, that was fun, but I'm not going to rub it in anymore. Matt would have lost to everyone this week, and even if he would have set a perfect lineup, he would have only had a chance to beat one other team. So, Matt, forget about it. Move on. There weren't many close games this week. Funny enough, the closest one was for the undefeated A+ team versus Adam's Apology Meter, who hasn't won a game yet. And that was actually the closest game of the week. A+ would have lost to most of the other teams this week, but he got lucky again with the schedule. Now, I'm going to dig into this, how lucky draft grade A+ really has been a little later. Again, stay tuned. Spoiler alert there, I don't think he can sustain this. Anyways, Jalen Waddle finally put up something. Devontae Smith continues to struggle. Jalen Hurts is just forcing the ball to his main man, A.J. Brown, this season. Zach Moss was on his bench with 32.5 points. He refuses to start the old man, Adam Thielen, who put up 22 of his own points. But he won anyway, so it doesn't matter. But draft grade A+, I'm telling you, you're going to have to start playing the right players in your starting lineup if you're going to continue to win going forward. I'm going to explain that a little bit later. All right, let's get into Brittany versus Dylan. So Brittany actually had a decent week because of Tyreek Hill, who just seems unstoppable. I mean, he's on a different level. Heck, dropped him number 1 overall. I don't care. You can't argue with that. Diop showed flashes of his time in Houston. That was kind of fun to watch. And Joe Burrow actually was Joe Burrow, who we drafted him to be. I'm just happy to see him play ball, whether he's on my team or not. It's just good. When Joe Burrow is playing well, it's good for the NFL. Brittany would have beaten 5 other teams this week if the schedule would have been a little more favorable for her. But she ran into a juggernaut of a score that Mr. Raspberry put up. Only 2 points behind me, and he did it with his QBs and his DST. He got solid play all around, don't get me wrong. But when your QBs and DST put up 82 points alone, and he didn't even need Barkley to score anything, he was fine. He did start a hurt Saquon Barkley when he could have beaten me for the top team of the week if he would have started Scary Terry or Josh Reynolds, but that's just a consolation prize. So you did what you needed to do. You put a monster score. Well done, Dylan. All right. Oh, boy, leftovers versus Patrick Sager. Brian had a decent week, and it started off fantastic being on the other end of my DJ Moore production with Justin Fields up there. But this is only a 4-point for passing touchdown league. So it really inhibited his production compared to other leagues that I'm in, at least. Justin Fields owners just kind of took off, and there was a pretty big difference in his score in this league than the other leagues. But that's fine. It wouldn't have mattered anyway because Patrick on the other side had solid production from all of his players, including a 34-point game from Travis Etienne. Now, Adam, is it Jacob Gibbs that didn't like Etienne going into this season? I kind of would like to think what his thoughts are now on how he's doing. Anyways, congrats, Patrick. Your team has a bright future, my man. And I think you will be the team to beat going forward now that you have Cooper Kupp back. One more thing about Brian's team before we move on. Do you have 4 people in your IR spots? How many spots are there? Can we just get all the IR people and stick them in there? Oh, maybe there's just 4. I'm just not paying attention. Quick observation. Okay. Before we get to our stats section of the video, we have to, of course, talk about our game of the week.
It's the game of the week. It's the game of the week. It's who took on Adam Penn's team this week.
That's right. It's our game of the week. For the People versus Barksdale Ballers. If you guys haven't realized, I'm just kind of picking whatever game Adam and Heath are in every week and making that the game of the week because I think it's a really cool thing for us to be able to beat them and play against them. So I hope no one cares. Anyway, Adam and Heath got a stroke of luck this week as they would have lost to 6 other teams in the league. And I'm going to talk about more about that later again. Bruce just didn't have it, man. Richardson got hurt and had to leave the game. I'm not sure if he would have made up the 28 points needed to catch Heath and Adam anyway, but it sure does hurt his team going forward. Let's talk about Anthony Richardson real quick. As exciting as he is, incredible athlete, is he sustainable as an NFL quarterback? He's already gotten hurt, 3 times in 5 games? Are they going to have to dial back his rushing attempts and make him a pocket passer to keep him healthy? I mean, we saw what happened with RG3 back in the day. It lasted like a year or 2. That style of play eventually just kind of regresses to a pocket passer, which Anthony Richardson just is not. I don't know if he could turn into it, especially when you're comparing him to like his own backup, Gardner Minshew. So maybe Adam's hot garbage theory here is, I don't agree with that, but he may not be as far off just because of his style. Is Anthony Richardson too much of an athlete? Should he be playing wide receiver or something? I don't know. Continue this conversation in the chat. I'd like to hear what everyone thinks about that. So, also, what happens if Gardner Minshew comes in and wins 3 or 4 games? Do they put Richardson back in? I mean, probably, because of the draft capital, but just be interesting to see what that GM over there is thinking. Anyways, so, for the People, did a good job benching Danny Dimes, Adam's boy. But they had no one go over 20 points. They had 3 players under 5 points. However, they won, and wins count the most, and that's what they got done. Well done, commish number 1 and commish number 2. All right, now I want to transition this segment to a what-if segment. So, kind of spinning off the Marvel animated what-if series, I want to talk about what if this league was an all-play league. So a little background here. So Adam, I know you don't like the all-play leagues. That's totally fine. But I had a running all-play league through CBS that a buddy and I ran that we started 12 years ago. We started it because we had a goal of creating a champion that was the result of the most amount of skill possible and the least amount of luck. So it was kind of a really cool concept. It went for a long time. The league dissolved last year after 12 years due to an unthinkable event that happened in the league. Adam, you may recall this event, actually. You and I talked about this last year. So I've since created a spin-off of that league with a very similar format in All Play. For those of you who don't know, in an All Play league, you play every team every single week and end up with a very large record. So like in a 12-team league, you're playing 11 games every week. Here's an example of an All Play league standings. As you can see, the standings will eventually get into the hundreds. But it paints a more accurate picture of how the teams are doing. So instead of one team getting one big fat L, for example, because they happen to play the team that scored the highest points in the league that week and they scored the second highest, they could go 10-1 or 8-1 in a 10-team league. And so that's a much better record than just getting an L, which is just 0-1. Oh, hey, that team at the top has a really cool name. I'm actually crushing it in that league this year. I drafted Nico Collins and Lil'Shane. I got Tyler Kill and stuff. So, humble plug brag right there. Anyways, here's my what ifs. Like I said, what if we were in an All Play league? Now, bear with me here, Adam. I actually do appreciate the head-to-head and the luck in fantasy football. I just like to play both. I really like my All Play league, but I really like the head-to-head factors, and playing that luck factor is there's still fun in that in fantasy football. Personally, I think the best way to do it is like how my Dynasty Sleeper Leagues are made, where you have a median game as well as a head-to-head game. But anyways, what if we were in an all-play league? Here we go. Now, I was sitting at my daughter's softball practice tonight, actually, with my iPad, and I actually went in and calculated all of this for you guys. And guys, I know what you were saying, but this is actually slightly different than the breakdown statistic that CBS offers. I went and looked, and the results are similar, but they are still different. So, if we were in an all-play league, Pat would be top dog going into week 6. Draft grade A+ would actually be in 4th on the bottom edge of playoff contention because the 4 teams make the playoffs. For the people in Dak Knight would be the 6th and 7th teams respectively. So you can see right there, we have winning percentages all the way from 71% to 20% for Adam's apology meter. Okay, so how much is the luck of the schedule actually playing a factor into this year's standings? Well, to determine that, I've created a statistic that I call the luck factor, TN. I created this statistic a couple years ago for one of my other leagues when I wanted to talk about, we had some really, really unlucky things happen in my Dynasty League before we included the median games. We had a guy that was literally losing to the top team every single week, and he was a good team. He was in the playoffs. So I created the luck factor to really show on paper how luck was negatively or positively impacting each team. Okay, so here it is. Pat, at the top, you have a current luck factor of -1, which means your all-play ranking, which is right there on the left, is 1 higher than your current ranking. So your current ranking is what your rankings actually is in this league right now, in the 2023 Leftovers Podcast League. So, as you can see, Pat and Dylan they're at the top. They have a luck factor of -1. Pretty good that they're sitting up there at 2 and 3 with only a -1. Oh boy, is a massive negative luck factor. Worst luck in the league for Brian over there. His all-play ranking would be 3, but he's sitting at the 7th-ranked team for this league. Ouch! And then you go to A+. This is what I was talking about. Draft grade A+ has the biggest positive luck factor in the league at 3. So he is sitting at the number 1, but he should be number 4 if we were in an all-play league. And then we have -1 for Make Canada Great Again. And then For the People and Dak Knight are actually positively benefiting from luck this year, sitting at a +2. All right. So here is what I will say about the luck factor, though. These tend to regress to the mean. So, oh boy should get closer to a luck factor of 0. His luck should, in theory, get better. A plus should have a little less luck going forward. Unfortunately for Ballers, Brittany, and Adam's apology meter, there's just no amount of luck that's really was going to help them in the first 5 weeks. So we just hope that they keep on playing and maybe make some moves and make some home run shots, like I've said every game. All right. So let me know what you guys think about my luck factor statistics. If you want to talk about it some more, hit me up on the chat for sure. If you want to talk about all play leagues, median leagues, head-to-head leagues, and what the difference is, I'm happy to discuss that. It's all good stuff. Well, all right, thanks for listening. I know I went a little bit longer this week, but I was really excited about my win. I wanted to get into some stats finally. I'm Lil'Shane, a.k.a. Dak Knight. Good luck in Week 6. Brian, my man, I'm coming for you at the end of this week. We're either both going to be 500 or I'm going to be 4-2, and I'm going to leave you at 2-4 in the dust. I'm coming for you, bro. Good luck. Okay, so I realized that you guys don't know me very well, and y'all don't know why I call myself Lil'Shane. I probably should explain this just a little bit because I don't think I'm some kind of rapper or fun internet personality that just puts Lil in front of his name to be cool. Not at all. So, first of all, my last name's Littleton. I started off my professional career in the service industry after I graduated college, and actually while I was in college, I bartended. And there were 2 Shanes at my very first job. One was older, taller, had been there longer. They called him Big Shane. And then I was deemed Little Shane. And that turned into Lil'Shane. And Lil, people just call me Lil. And all these are service industry buddies of mine. It's where I started fantasy football. And it's where I started playing with them. I actually have my key, my beer key, it says Lil S on it from back in the day to show that I was Lil'Shane, Lil S. And so that's actually where Lil'Shane comes from. I should give y'all some background there so you know what I'm talking about. I'm not bartending anymore. I love the service industry. I love my time there. I'm actually a healthcare executive now. I live in Georgetown, Texas. And I have a pet pig. All right, good night.
Rosie, say hi.